Martin Seddon wasn't one to dwell on things. Within minutes of ending up in the field, he had climbed through the driver's window and called the police. His phone screen was now a beautiful spider's web of cracked glass, but it still worked. He was on his way to Dymchurch, a coastal village southwest of Hythe in Kent. He had wanted to take a trip on the Romney-Hythe and Dymchurch Railway in a fruitless attempt to replace modern agonies with misty nostalgia. But his lack of experience behind the wheel had saw to it that he would not be catching his desired locomotive. And so, after describing to the police officer that he had lost control of his vehicle trying to dodge a badger that was already dead, Martin Seddon stood in a field somewhere between Ashford and Hythe and thought about what to do next. It was mid-afternoon when Martin reached Dymchurch. The railway no longer held any appeal. Instead, he decided to eat chips on the beach. There was no one else around except for a man in his 60s with an explosive comb-over and an aging greyhound. He stood and looked at Martin, his hands buried deep in his trouser pockets. The look he directed towards Martin suggested that if Martin were to leave his polystyrene container on the beach, there would be words. Eventually, the man walked on when he discovered that his dog was repeatedly scratching the shell of an increasingly impatient crab. The next day, Martin walked to New Romney where a vintage fun fair was in operation. He stared up at the fun house with its wobbly mirrors and coloured bulbs. And it was at that moment when he decided he was never going home. The car accident wasn't an accident, it was a marker. He was leaving it all behind, and more importantly, he was leaving them all behind.